So we're going to do a little bit of a throwback episode because the work that my friend is doing is amazing. I want more people to hear about it. So here we go.
You believe that a Yid will win in the end. That if you stand with Hashem and you stand for what's right, you will march across the finish line. You will have victory.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to another episode of That Jewish Podcast. I am your host, Yirmeyahu. Listen, I'm so sorry that an episode did not drop last week. I try to get these out weekly, but sometimes things get in the way. Life happens, right? I'm sure you all understand. But listen, this week, I want to revisit an episode. First of all, thank you for everyone who's listened to the podcast. Thank you for everyone who's subscribed to the podcast. Thank you for everyone who's put this on your favorites on Spotify, Apple Music, or Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, whatever platform you're listening to this on. Thank you. If you've shared this with family members and friends, thank you. Keep doing it. If you're listening to this for the first time and you enjoy it, please share this with your family and friends as well. You can find That Jewish Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, WhatsApp. We're everywhere. As we say in Memphis, we're everywhere. But anyhow, let's get right into this episode, ladies and gentlemen. This is more of a throwback episode because way back when That Jewish Podcast, I believe it was called Kosher Commentary, has been through a couple of names: Kosher Commentary, Kosher and Black. Now it's That Jewish Podcast and will forever be That Jewish Podcast. But my very first guest on this show was a brilliant man by the name of Jason Caplan. And he does amazing work through the Bridge Institute, specifically with his work on Abulafia. And if you don't know who Abulafia is, I could put some of that stuff in the show. Actually, I'll just put all his information right here in the show notes, and you can look that stuff up for yourself. But just going through permutations and all those things, he'll explain all these things on this episode. This is an episode I did months ago, maybe almost a year ago, maybe. I don't know. He's doing great work. So his work with Abulafia through the Bridge Institute, it's called the Universal Language Room. The Universal Language Room, ULR. Obviously, there's right here in Memphis, Tennessee. And I believe, and if he's listening to this message, he can correct me, but I believe that the Universal Language Room is now in all 6 inhabitable continents. All of them. So everywhere except for Antarctica. I believe there is a Universal Language Room going on, studying the work of Rabbi Abulafia, going through permutations, what helps you with your music. It helps you meditate. It helps your davening. It opens up a whole new world for you, truly. And he'll go through his story, where he came from, what he did, how he found out how he found these things out, and the work he's doing now is so amazing. So I want a billion people to listen to this. So please share this episode specifically with your family and friends, because I truly think it will help you out in the long run. So here's the episode with Jason Caplan. Thank you again for joining us today, Mr. Caplan. We're going to be talking about a lot of cool things today, so you guys are going to absolutely enjoy this whole episode. Jason is an awesome man. He does a lot of cool things in our community. He's very talented, musician-wise. He can crunch your numbers for you, and he's a student of Kabbalah. So interesting man all around, and we're going to get to know a little bit about him today. So thank you for coming again.
Thanks for having me. I'm so honored. It's a tremendous blessing to be first guest on your awesome podcast.
Well, thank you. We could just start, just jump right in, if you don't mind. Kind of tell the listeners who you are, kind of your background, about yourself, and how you got to where you are today.
Great. Well, Yirmeyahu, let me start with, I was born in Philadelphia, grew up in a Jewish family in Richmond, Virginia, where my family moved there when I was 1 year old. So I will really keep it quite brief. I grew up, I went to public school and Jewish conservative after school. Mm-hmm. Actually, I didn't know what a Talmud was until I was about 18 or 19.
Oh, wow.
So we did go to after school, maybe Monday, Wednesday, I think Sunday. Mm-hmm. But we didn't know the basics for whatever reason. And by the time I made it to middle school or high school, I just was not interested in Judaism. It seemed like a lot of bar mitzvahs with a lot of extravagant celebrations, but I didn't see the content at the time. So I studied Buddhism, Taoism, Jainism, Rastafari, everything I could get my hands on, everything. Talked to the people from these traditions too. You know, went to college and talked to people from these traditions, and I still thought it's interesting. Go to a Grateful Dead show. I still thought it's interesting, but it's not what exactly I'm looking for. I can appreciate it. And in college, through a number of events, both in dreams and in life, it kept directing me towards Judaism, which I thought was really a closed door. But I went to Emory University in Atlanta and started to discover Judaism.
Yeah.
This is in the yeshiva world or the Chabad world or the modern Orthodox. It was all in this one street and in this one university. So I really was very fortunate to be able to look at all the different groups. But after studying all the different groups, I still thought this is now a big part of my life, keeping Shabbat, keeping kosher, learning what the Talmud is. But I still thought it's not exactly what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So to bring us up to speed for this podcast, what I did was I went to New York City, essentially locked myself into an apartment. I mean, I was all over the place, but I'd come home to an apartment each day and write in my notebooks. And I did that for about 10 years.
Oh, wow.
About 10 years. About 10 years I looked and I wrote in my notebooks. And I thought, well, you know, I'll get married and I'll join one of the Orthodox groups and I'll be in one of those categories.
Yeah.
I just couldn't do it. So I didn't want anything to be against Orthodoxy or pro-Orthodoxy. I didn't want to entwine myself that way. I just thought I need to find a unique path.
No labels.
No labels.
Yeah.
So that's where the story starts, is me in New York with notebooks thinking, I love this Orthodox world, but there's a component there that's missing for me, and I don't want to start my life and be married until I answer that question.
Yeah, that's good. And I think that's important. And of course, we'll get to the questions. But you saying no labels is, especially after October 7th, I think it's very important for anybody who is Jewish or who's come alongside as a Jewish ally, you know, to whether you're Orthodox, conservative, Reform, Restructionist, whatever label you've put on yourself. I think it's a good time in history for just all of us just to come together as one. You're Jewish. It doesn't matter how you choose to study. We're Jewish, and we should all stand together. Yeah,
that's exactly it. We are a nation. There are different ways, essentially, that we're dealing with modern Western thought.
Right.
That's when we all broke off into Reform, Conservative, Orthodox.
Yeah.
And that response is unique, and we should debate it, but we really also need to move past the labels.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. So we can get into the questions, unless you had more.
I'll just add that where we really come to the story in Memphis is I met my wife around 2008, but she wasn't living in New York at the time, Michal. And it was really interesting. During that year is when I started to create something called the Universal Language Room.
Yes.
I started it in 2004, but I really physically put it together with Sikh, Baha'i, Muslim musicians.
Yeah.
And when we did that, it was at a synagogue, I believe on West 32nd Street. When we did that, that's when I thought, oh, I could start my life. So I really thought I could start my life around 2009. In 2010, we got married.
Gotcha.
And then we moved to Richmond, Virginia. Then we moved in 2016 to Memphis. And in Memphis, I discovered who we're going to talk about. I discovered Abraham Abulafia. So I think that brings us up to the present.
Gotcha. And about how, in 2010, about how old are you then?
32.
32. I mean, you came to Memphis, you were
38.
38. So, and I'm only asking because there may be people who listen to the podcast, maybe younger. You may be thinking, you know, I just got bar mitzvah. Now I'm supposed to jump into being this great Talmudic master, or I'm 18, 19, or you're 22 and you just graduated from YU, or you're at yeshiva in Israel and you're 25 and you think, oh man, I haven't mastered Kovetz Chaim yet. I'm a failure. It's like, no, it's a journey. It's all about the journey.
I'm really glad you brought that up, Yirmeyahu, because the greatest teacher I've ever met is my own personal failures.
Oh, that's good.
It really is. And I thought to myself, I should be at this point in life somewhere.
Yeah.
But I'd be forcing it.
Yeah.
I want to learn what failure is teaching me. Not easy, kind of lonely. And I thought, well, they had the 20 people under 20 who did something great. This is always in the New York paper. There was the 30 people who were under 30. I was like, I got time to be 100 in that group of 100. I'll give myself that span.
And it could be that maybe the last year of your life, you have you're 119 years old and you get the 120 under 120. There
exactly. So the numbers get bigger, who they're going to choose.
Absolutely.
And your age gets larger. So I gave myself that runway. I'll tell you one more thing in addition to that. I used to joke with myself, maybe I told a couple people, but I went through and I'm still in a very rationalist phase. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of rabbis in Judaism who were not for reincarnation and all these things that, well, there's really no way to prove that. But
right.
But then I thought to myself, you know what? I'm working on myself in this project. I'm going to believe in reincarnation. I'm going to change my mind just because I want more time.
Yeah.
If I don't get it done now, I'll come back and do it.
Right. That's a good thought.
Yeah.
And before we get to the question, just to encourage somebody out there too, I believe Rabbi Akiva, one of the greatest rabbis in the Talmud, he didn't start learning until he was like 40 years old. He was very old. Well, not very old. I'm 40. I'm not old. But
for their lifespan, back
yes.
then. And he was somebody, not only did he start learning at 40, he was completely against the rabbis. I mean, harshly against the rabbis for many, many years. I don't remember the reason why, but he turned that view around. He turned his life around.
Yeah.
And one of the primary rabbis of all of Judaism.
Yes. He started at 40.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Exactly.
There you go. You don't have to be a Talmudic master at 19. You don't have to be.
I think there's just a lot of press a button, get a ChatGPT answer.
Yeah.
And I think humans feel that we should be able to copy machines that way.
That's true. Yeah.
And the runway that you need to achieve something great, again, many people use Michael Jordan or other people who were just not overnight successes at all.
Not at all.
But I don't think there are that many people teaching how to live in the shadows and keep improving yourself.
Yeah.
You hear a lot about this person's a superstar and they were discovered. But it's important that you're emphasizing that you just work on yourself without recognition. It's hard, but it's very worth it.
Yes, it will always pay off. Pay off. So let's get into the grill session.
Yeah, the grill session.
So just talking about your upbringing, your background, how you got to where you are today. I know a lot of times me and Jason go to the same shul, and we try to. When we can, we try to study during the Kiddush Club. We call ourselves the Real Kiddush Club, because we learn. But a lot of time we learn about Kafus Chaim, Abraham Abulafia. So what drew you exactly to the teachings of Abraham Abulafia and I guess Kafus Chaim, either one or both? And how do you integrate their philosophies into your daily living?
Right. So Abulafia, I had the Universal Language Room concept. Mm-hmm. Which for your listeners is taking improvisational music, which is usually reserved for the jazz artist on the pedestal. But I wanted everyone to feel that jazz music was accessible to everybody. So I get people in a circle and I show them how to play music and improvise. Yeah. But I wasn't exactly great at it. And so I kept looking for more ways to teach it better. Yeah. And I don't know why, but I was studying Abulafia one day. I knew he was a Kabbalist. And he would say, take 4 Hebrew letters, Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Daled, and write it 24 different ways, which is the total permutations. 1 times 2 times 3 times 4 is 24. I thought, okay, that's great. I don't know what that does for anybody.
Right.
And I happened to put it away, and then I picked up a book by Jerry Bergonzi, a saxophone player. He said the best way to practice improvisation is to take 4 notes and practice them 24 different ways. Like, oh my gosh, this is the decoder key.
Yes.
For the Kabbalah from 800 years ago.
Head explode emoji.
It really did. No, it's not even exaggeration. I felt lights go on. I felt light bulbs click, just like you would see in a cartoon. It really felt that way. And so I started putting music notes to Hebrew letters and saying Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, hey, Gimel, Dalet, Bet, Aleph,
Yeah.
So that's how I teach the language better. I've become better as a musician. But to get deeper into it, what Abulafia, I think, is saying is the more you permutate, the more you take your old way of thinking and you challenge it and you start to look at things different, look at people different. You permutate your habits, your habitual outlook, and you challenge yourself. I could look at this differently. I could approach God from a different angle.
Yeah.
I could come through a different path. And that's what it's done for me. It's made me open my mind to thinking about things different. I don't think it makes people open-minded.
Right,
I don't
right.
even know if that's a goal, but it takes what they call like neural pathways, and it just creates new things. So the more I've studied Abulafia, which I would think about this point, it's been about 6 years, the more that I feel that I can renew my life with a new outlook.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that's Abulafia, and the more you permutate music, the more you can achieve a meditative state. And so I really love it. But I'll tell you, the biggest thing I've learned from Abulafia, this is my biggest insight, is most of the time religion, and I'll just talk about Judaism, that's my experience, the rabbis or the organization, and rightly so, they'll say this is the path that you could choose. You could become Chabad, you could become Breslov, you could become whatever it is.
Yeah.
This is the best path. And I think they should say that. But Abulafia, I think, is more like a Home Depot. He says, look, here's what we got in aisle 2. Here's what we got in aisle 3.
Yeah.
You want to check out aisle 4? We got some great tools for you.
Yeah.
So go home and, build whatever you want. I don't know what you're going to build, but go for it.
That's awesome.
So that's when I felt like, I could be an individual. I don't have to profess my loyalty to a path.
Yeah.
I could be a halachic Torah Jew,
Yeah.
but I got the tools. I built something kind of different from everybody else.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah,
So
that's beautiful.
That's beautiful. Thank God. And that's why Abulafia to me is the primary guide, along with Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch, we can get into later, but Rav Hirsch, as a modern thinker, because he lived closer to our time than Abulafia, he gives direction about the modern world that I really love. So, but to come back full circle to the Chafetz Chaim is the more I studied letters and how powerful they are, the more it hit me so hard how important our language is.
Yeah.
And when I used to study Chafetz Chaim, even a year ago, 2 years ago, whatever it was, I'd say, no, this is impossible. I can't keep all these rules. And for your listeners, he talks about how not to gossip or how not to be tale-bearing or,
Right. Just the evil speech, Lashon Hara. Yeah.
any kind of evil speech. Yeah. And when you study all the rules and the situations, I used to think, honestly, I'm just confessing here, I can't do it. I'll try, but I can't do it.
Yes.
After studying enough Abulafia, I thought, I don't have an alternative. I have to do this.
Yeah.
If you just think to yourself, the Aleph is so powerful, and then Aleph and Bet together, that says Av, which means father. So powerful. Wow, your father. The Av, the Bet together. And then you think, I'll just say that this person's a loser behind their back. That's impossible to do now.
Right.
How could you take the beautiful language of Aleph Bet and use it for that purpose? It doesn't mean I don't mess up.
Right.
But I started to really understand that there's not an alternative to the Chafetz Chaim. It sounds almost like fundamentalist.
Right.
I don't mean it like that, but I mean, when you know how powerful language is, you don't wield it around carelessly.
Yes. Yes. I like that. And also just learning these past, I guess, I don't know if it's been a year or some months or
probably
it's been a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Learning with you during the Kiddush, it's been transformative because now you just don't, number one, you understand that if you do evil speech, if you do Lashon Hara, it's a three-edged sword. So you damage yourself by saying it, you damage the other person by them listening to it, and then you despair the other person because you have some, not really substantiated thing out there about them. Even if it's true, you've tainted their image some kind of way. So it kind of makes you stop and pause when whoever you're talking to, about whoever you're talking to, or whatever you're talking about. It kind of changes everything. So it kind of changes. It might impact your circle now. It might impact how you speak, who you speak to, what you talk about. So it's kind of life changing in a way.
I think so. Yeah. I think you said it right when you say you stop and pause and you assess the situation. I mean, I used to just run my mouth.
Yeah.
Whatever just came up, I would just start.
I think that's most of us.
Most of us. I think it's kind of normal. But it wields such power, and then you realize what you've done. So to get ahead of it and stop and pause. I mean, from our studies, so we've been studying as much as we can each week at Shabbat, Kiddush, and we study a situation, then we study what the Jewish law is for that situation. And it comes up to me at work, something similar.
Yes.
And then I shut my big mouth or I redirect.
Right.
And it is a life changer because I don't get entangled with people unnecessarily. I don't negatively affect their lives and vice versa.
Yeah.
So Chafetz Chaim to me it's a really interesting transformation of my view of him and his work. When I thought it was the black belt of Judaism, but I couldn't achieve it.
Yeah.
Now I just think I'll be happy to fail at it, but I'll keep trying. That's if I can just show I put in all my effort to be good at it, that'll be one level. My stretch goal is to actually be good at it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. That's good. I'm trying to get there. I don't know if I'm good at it.
I don't know if I'm good at it, but I'm just much more accepting that I have to try.
Absolutely.
As many times as I might slip. And but the times when you don't slip and you realize you didn't slip, it is so gratifying. It is really a real source of happiness. I mean, I think about eating chocolate. I love a chocolate bar. I like a good cup of coffee. I love when I don't slip on Lashon Hara. It's just as great. I know it's even spiritually better, but I mean, in terms of a great feeling.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So just speaking of spiritual practices, so how do you approach the concept of spiritual growth? And then we answered some of this already, but spiritual growth and self-refinement as emphasized by the Chofetz Chaim.
Right. The Chofetz Chaim was coming from the Musar tradition. I don't know if he really said out loud, I'm part of a Musar tradition. And certainly I believe that Yisrael Salanter, Rabbi Salanter, was before the Chofetz Chaim. But I think he thought that correct speech led to correct action. So I think that's really what his source is. And so for me, if I would tell you, I'm not exactly a student of Kabbalah. I take certain pieces that help me musically. Yeah. But I'm not normally studying Kabbalistic books. Gotcha. I'll study Abulafia, but I most of my time I'm studying Talmud, Gemara, Mishnah, and Chumash.
Gotcha.
I'm in the basics. And I see people studying Kabbalah and talking about high-level Chassidut, and again, to me, teach their own.
Right.
But for me, my spiritual refinement is spending a lot of time in music, which aligns my spiritual compass to me, to make sure that I'm walking my path rather than trying to fit inside another concept, an expectation. And to do that, I work a lot with music permutations, which we'll get to. But the music permutations that I practice help me find my unique melody. But also, it's not just about me and myself. I also listen for other people's melody when I'm talking to them in conversation. I think I'm a much better listener because of permutations than I was before. So spiritual refinement to me is correct thought through the permutations, correct speech through studying Chofetz Chaim, which leads to correct action, which you can refine more through Musar or Talmud or Chassidut.
Yeah.
And that practice is just a work in progress. But to me, it's very practical. I'm not looking for big spiritual experiences. I'm not looking for heavy-duty meditative things. I just want my spiritual compass to be pointing in the right direction.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So we talk about the permutations through music. So in what ways have your understanding of Abulafia's meditative techniques influenced your creative process, whether in music or otherwise, or beyond?
This is where Carl Jung really comes in. Carl Jung, psychologist, psychoanalyst, Swiss. He actually studied with Freud for a long time.
Oh, wow.
Then for a number of different reasons, he broke away from Freud and went his own direction.
Yeah, my brother-in-law is named after Sigmund Freud.
Oh, your brother-in-law is?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Freud is still incredibly influential today, but I do see more Jungian thought coming into the mainstream, which is really interesting. So I started studying Jung also about maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I was aware of him, but I didn't really understand what he was saying. Yeah. But I became more aware. So Abulafia's contemplation helps me understand, and this might be for another podcast, about Jungian shadow and archetypes, and it essentially how you map yourself, which is so difficult because we can't turn our eyes inside.
Yeah.
So we need stories and music and dance to kind of see it on the outside. And that's where I think Abulafia, when I hear the music that I played back to me because I record myself, I can kind of see myself better.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. And so through music or dance or I do drawing, just to get a sense of what's going on in my subconscious. A lot of times the subconscious to me is almost kind of separate from us. Yeah. I mean, it is us, but it's kind of separate. And you got to get to know it. a lot of times when you read about the subconscious, it's in the context of, well, you'll be better at business if you could harness the subconscious. Everyone's harnessing it like some kind of horse. And maybe it could be utilized like that.
Yeah.
But my suggestion or my approach is just to get to know it.
Yeah.
Sit down with it before giving it an assignment. And so a lot of times when you're in religion, there is a conforming pressure, which is natural and probably necessary.
Yeah.
But you got to know how far it can go before you start feeling like you're losing yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that's my spiritual practice, is honing in on those permutations to be a contributive member of a community, but also to really set my boundaries. This is who I am.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, because I've known, unfortunately, just through my spiritual journey, kind of like yours, but not as broad. So I didn't cast my cell as broad as you, but I've been through some weird spiritual roads, and I've seen people who've I guess the term in Judaism is go off the derech, but I've seen people go far literally into the woods talking to themselves, and they think they have to live amongst the nature, and God is somewhere in this deer, so I have to roll around in the grass. It's really weird stuff. Yeah. So that's really good to know who you are, to balance yourself, to ground yourself into something that's stable and real. Yeah.
I'm really glad you brought that up, because it always astounded me the lengths that people will go for spiritual practices. Mm-hmm. But I have developed, how would I say, an appreciation of how difficult it is to come out of your current mindset. Mm-hmm. So people think they have to roll in the snow, or and this may or may not work, but I know people doing like ice baths and like all these like extreme physical things to kind of shift their minds.
I listened to a podcast the other day. The rabbi was talking about the dangers of ayahuasca. I think that's what it's called now.
Exactly. Ayahuasca. Yeah.
So he said there's something to it because it opens something up, but if you're not in the right spiritual mindset, you don't know what you're opening yourself up to.
Well, I hope people take my opinion with a grain of salt, but I was a little bit in that world, in the Grateful Dead world. And here's the illogic of the whole thing. You're trying to have an inner experience, and you took an outside stimulant. Mm. So how does that, where are you going to go with that? Yeah. The key to heaven is always outside of you. Yeah. And it's in limited form. It's ayahuasca, and you have to be in Brazil or wherever they go. Yeah. So I might sound a little harsh on that. And again, to each their own, however you do your spiritual journey. But if you want to ask me my opinion about taking psychedelics and outside stimulants for an inner discovery, I can't see how that works.
Yeah, I don't either. And I think that rabbi was saying the same thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's good. Let's see here. So I guess I kind of answered the next question too, but I'll still ask it. Mm-hmm. I'll ask the next two questions. Mm-hmm. So what role do you think mysticism plays in contemporary Jewish life? And how can it remain relevant today? And how has your exploration of music shaped your relationships with others in your community?
Okay. Yeah, this is a great question. Some of my favorites. So I would tell you that I would like to see a certain option open in Judaism. That's how I would phrase it. Yeah. An option that I didn't have coming up through what we call the Baal Teshuvah, the newly religious. So they're different Hasidic groups that have tzaddikim, and you're supposed to connect to the tzaddikim. And it may be true. I just was not comfortable with it.
Gotcha.
Because they said, well, we're not intermediaries.
Right.
We just help you get closer to God. That sounds like definition of an intermediary to me. And there's a lot of times going to grave sites and talking about the tzaddikim. Again, it might all be true. Yeah. It might be like the core thing you need to do in Judaism, but it didn't resonate with me. And a lot of those groups said you're not allowed to study the Rambam's Moreh Nevuchim. You can't study philosophy. And I just thought, I could see the limits of philosophy. Absolutely. Right. I don't think it's off limits because it's limited.
Right.
So to me, the role of mysticism in Judaism today, the option I would like open to people is that there's a deeply meditative, philosophical, prophecy-based Judaism that has tremendous respect for Rambam and the Guide of the Perplexed, and has tremendous respect for Sefer Yetzirah, the book of creation, the original book of permutations. Now, this is what Abulafia uniquely offered, even today.
Yeah.
He was the first person to teach Kabbalah in public.
Oh, wow.
He was the person who said we must honor the Rambam, all of his writings, not just part of them, plus honor the Sefer Yetzirah. He didn't have a connection to the Zohar because it had not come out yet.
Yeah.
But he was not aware of the Zohar in general. So the option that I would like offer to people is extremely universal, mystical Judaism that's philosophically based, that says every human has a divine soul. To be a Jew, yes, is unique. And there's something unique to our soul and our nation. It is. But the baseline is B'Tselem Elohim. Every human has a divine soul. Yeah. Which is a little bit cloudy in a lot of Kabbalah of who does or doesn't have a divine soul.
Right.
So I just want to be clear. Every human has divine soul.
Absolutely.
Boom, period. And so I think that people are looking for that. And I don't care if it's a mass movement or whatever. But I think there are certain individuals looking to hear every human has a divine soul. The connection to God is direct. Rabbis are helpful and should be guides. Yeah. But I don't think you need to connect to them like soul-wise.
Right.
And the permutations or art or your own individual voice should be a big part of your Jewish practice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And what and how is your, I guess, how's the music? So the permutations, the music, you have the universal language room. So how's that music kind of connect you to others in the community? I saw you shared your video with the county mayor and the local rabbi, kind of two people who probably wouldn't be normally in the same room together, but because of the music, it's brought them together. Yeah.
The music, I think, brought them together. They may have met at a political event or a religious event, but a lot of times our leaders are making statements about we need to be unified. And I agree with them. We should, but I wanted to show that one aspect of, well, how do we practice that?
Yeah.
Show me on the ground. We're going to talk about this goal. How do we practice it every day?
Yeah.
I mean, the Chicago Bulls with Jordan could say, hey, we're going to win a championship, but they also went to practice.
Absolutely.
And the thing that I think we miss with the intellectual class is I think a lot of times they make statements and papers and have conferences, but I don't see the daily practice. So that's what the Universal Language Room is all about, is practicing that listening, practicing that music.
That's good.
So we had Baha'i students and we had Jewish students, and they were both all in high school or college, and we played together. So I've been able to really connect with my Jewish community, different parts of the Jewish community, but then we've also built out facilitators in different countries.
Oh, wow.
This is awesome. Indonesia, Uganda, Rajasthan.
Where's Rajasthan?
Rajasthan, India.
Indian. Okay, wow.
Yep. Colombia,
yeah.
South America. And before, I would tell you that I've been in my Jewish community and I've connected with Sikhs and Baha'is and I've had a really beautiful connection. But with the Universal Language Room and more musicians connecting to permutations, I've really felt a humanhood, a brotherhood with these musicians that's really brought tremendous blessing to my life. So it's a whole new shared language we have.
Yeah.
Now, I teach them about Abulafia and permutation, but I say that the rabbi has discovered a universal system.
Absolutely.
I'm not growing Judaism with you. I'm just growing universal principles, and they love it.
Yeah, and that's good. And it helps, I think, too, like in talking about being balanced and coming to a point. Because, in Judaism, there's like we can go so far. Like you can have, for instance, maybe a Christian musician, but maybe I can't go into your church because certain things are in there or something. But I think even that connection, even with the music, is really important, because now when geopolitical things happen, we begin to see people not as situations or this political pawn or this guy, these people in this country over there, but it's just, they're humans. You get a real connection, and you kind of, although we may have sides, you naturally fall onto a side naturally, but you still can see someone as a human being, as someone who is living, breathing, someone who is made in the image of God, other than just, oh, well, that's that person over there and that's their mess that they're dealing with in that country. It's a real connection, and you kind of feel differently. You have empathy more. Yeah, absolutely.
I think you feel different. I think you do have the empathy. And I think when we have certain language of the Jew and the non-Jew, I mean, I don't want to be the non-something of someone else's group.
Right.
Like, there are a lot of bowlers in the world, but Jason's a non-bowler. I mean, I guess so. I wouldn't phrase myself like that.
Right.
I know it's just the limits of language. No one intended harm by saying the non-Jew.
Right.
But it's clunky. It's a clunky term.
Yeah.
And I do want to share in Am Yisrael, our people, a certain bond.
Absolutely.
That's exclusive.
Absolutely.
It is. But I also want the shared human bond.
Absolutely.
And my friends of Rajasthan have their own unique Rajasthan bond. That's great. Now, do I think we are the chosen people? Yeah, absolutely. But you have to ask yourself, chosen for what? And I think we are chosen to announce the oneness of humankind.
Yeah.
Under God. And for that, we have a very special mission in world universal history.
Absolutely.
But we're also communicating the significance of every human in every human group, should they choose to actualize their potential.
Absolutely. That's good. All right, so can you share a defining moment in your life, maybe when you locked yourself away in an apartment for 10 years, when these teachings or practices had a profound impact on you?
I think it's been gradual, step by step. There was the huge aha moment was in my room in Memphis when I saw Abulafia next to Berganzi. That was a big aha moment. But it's really been day after day, little insights, meeting a new person. But when we had this recent documentary, Baron Hirsch, and you see the culmination of your work come together. You see the kids smiling together. You see the adults smiling together.
Yeah.
You see the mayor. I want to give a big shout out to Mayor Lee Harris.
Absolutely.
Because he took our call. He worked with us. He came out, drove out to Baron Hirsch with his team.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a real leader who said, you got a neat project here. I want to support you. And I want to give a big shout out to Rabbi Lichter, also, who said, I have time to meet with you. Come to the synagogue. We'll open it up to you. That's tremendous leadership. And I think they both really enjoyed, as a mayor and a rabbi, saying, there's something to music about universal language. There's something about us coming together.
Yeah.
We need that. So that moment at Baron Hirsch with the kids, with the political and religious leaders, with the Baha'is and the Jews together, that was really special. So I think, and I hope to have more of these culminations,
Absolutely.
Each way.
Absolutely. I saw that video. I was like, wow, this is how you got everybody together. That was amazing. That was amazing.
I call it a magic trick. I have little permutation cards, and I call them magic cards. And I said, we're all people from different lives. And when you first sit in a room together, you're still at your work. You're still worried about your kids. Your mind's somewhere else. And with the permutations, we're all going to end up actually sitting here together. And the past and future are going to kind of melt away for a little bit. And the fact that I'm white and you're black and you're Hispanic and Baha'i or Jew, all that kind of is going to melt away too.
Yeah.
I don't want it to permanently melt away, but one of my favorite moments in Memphis was I was with Blind Mississippi Morris. He's one of the great singer harmonica players on Beale Street. So he's very welcoming. He let me come up on stage. We've been doing this for a number of years, and I come and I play. So I was played a couple songs, went and sat down. And this white British tourist came up to me and said, I didn't think you could play the blues. And I was like, oh, why not? He goes, because you're white. I said, I am? And I kind of made this point and started laughing, like, I just don't think about that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I went up to Morris and I said, this person said this. He goes, man, you know me, I don't see color. I said, Morris, that's so beautiful. He goes, no, man, I'm blind.
I don't see anything.
I don't see anything. And he was laughing so hard, but he meant both things. He really meant it. And so those are kind of moments when the rest of the world, for some reason, finds this incredible attraction to, well, since you're this skin color, you have this history, and you have to think about the world this way, and you have to fit into my false categories.
Right.
And the Universal Language Room allows all of us freedom from false categories.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to study those things, understand what happened in history, understand where we came from, I completely agree. But to tell me you need to look at the world this way because you look this way,
right?
It's like, didn't we get past that?
Yeah, we should be past that.
We should.
And I love conversations like that, especially around this time of Hanukkah, and you think about the Maccabees and what they did and what they stand for, the Hasmonean dynasty, and their fight not just to, I know we talk about lighting the candles and the oil, but really the fight to say, hey, you don't have to be Hellenized to be great. You don't It's okay to be Jewish in a Hellenized world. You do not have to assimilate. It's okay. You don't have to connect to these, even the false constructs back then. Are you Greek or non-Greek? Are you Roman or non-Roman? Do you believe in one God or two God? Like, you're Jewish. That's what you are. Let's hold on to that. Let's hold on to our heritage. Let's hold on to our traditions and our culture and all this stuff, and not fall into, because we know that there's Jews of all, they look, depending on where you are, they look different shades, different heights, different colors, different whatever, but they're all Jewish. It doesn't matter.
It's an amazing nation to be a part of. And I know it happens in other nations, but when people say, oh, the Jews are white, I said, that is really objectively wrong. Have you seen the world?
Right.
I mean, have you been to Israel for even 5 minutes?
Yeah.
5 minutes of being in Israel, Sephardi Jews, Ethiopian Jews, Indian Jews, Jews from Memphis.
Yeah.
We just don't look at the world like that. And it could be very helpful for other people.
Absolutely.
And I think, to add to your point, Hanukkah is that idea that there's this nation that came in and said, we're intellectually superior to you, and you're going to be Hellenized.
Yeah.
And the Jews honestly said, you'll find a lot in the Talmud, Greek words. The Jews said, there's a lot to Greek culture. We like some of what you're saying here, but don't push it on us, bub.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Don't tell us we got to go and buy the whole thing.
Correct.
We'll take little pieces.
Take little pieces, yeah.
And we don't need these ideas of Greek, non-Greek, and dividing people up in lower classes, upper classes.
Right.
We see the Jewish nation as one human family. We're going to see the whole world, God willing, in the future as one human family. So it's a very important point.
Absolutely. And you guys hear the pauses. It's my phone trying to open up, because
He's trying to get back to the questions.
I tried to print the questions out, but my printer was like, nope, I'm not cooperating with you today, sir.
No.
So, oh well, it happens.
It happens.
So you've mentioned the connection between your prayer, your music, and the mysticism. So what surprised you the most when exploring these intersections?
Surprises me the most. I think I'm looking for surprises, I would say. I'm looking for what's new every day. Jewish prayer 3 times a day is a big challenge.
Yeah.
Rote repetition to me is classical music, and I find classical music challenging. As much as I love it.
Yeah.
I listen to a lot of Bach.
Yeah.
Beethoven, Debussy, Stravinsky. But if you ask me to play it and then do the same performance each time, I would find that challenging. So to renew in Judaism, to find what surprises you, that is a big challenge. But I think the big surprise is that you could do it. You could renew your Orthodox Judaism. You could see it in a new light again. And I've been doing it for 30 years, maybe 25 years, something like, almost coming up on 30 years I've been in the Orthodox community. So you're going to have to renew it.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you start going through the motions. So I think the big surprise to me, though, if you ask me what was my biggest surprise in life, is that I thought when I found the Universal Language Room, I'd kind of be on my own forever. And to find Rabbi Abulafia, who was thinking of the same thing, and that I really had a teacher in the world, that was a big surprise. I couldn't believe it. I thought, wow. There was a great book by by the scholar, Moshe Edel, came out in 2020, and he wrote about Abulafia, and he believed in a universal language.
Wow.
And I read that, and I thought, this is awesome, Baruch Hashem. I really, really, really have a teacher. I was always envious of people who had their teacher and their tzaddik, even if I'm not, in line with the whole tzaddik doctrine, but I was very envious, like, wow, it must be great to have your set way and your teacher. And so for me to get kind of close to that with Abulafia has been a big surprise and a big blessing.
That's awesome. So this bleeds also into the last question I just asked you, but how do you balance, you talked about balance before, but how do you balance maintaining traditional Jewish practices, so orthodoxy, with incorporating new creative elements like music and permutation?
Well, that's been the big question, is I'm not interested in innovating Orthodox Judaism. I'm not interested in changing it.
Yeah.
And if there are great rabbis that halachically, through the halachic process, make changes, that's great. I do see people posting a lot of videos about Kabbalah and all the different worlds of Kabbalah, and I don't know if that's general public things to get into. Maybe. I know, maybe if it's through the right person.
Yeah, I think some of the rabbis even say you shouldn't, study that in public and all that stuff.
There's something to that warning.
Yeah.
There's something to it. And if that person is a tremendous scholar in halacha, then okay. Yeah. But I think a lot of times people, the intrigue of Kabbalah is so intriguing.
Yeah.
But for me, you'd be surprised maybe that with all my studies of Abulafia, I always just kind of recommit to Talmudic study, Mishnaic study. So the creativity that I feel is getting better at the basics of Judaism.
Yeah.
Okay. And then creating my own new art or dance or piano. I'm trying to take up piano now. So I find my creativity does not have to be, and I'm not interested in it being changing orthodoxy.
Gotcha.
Or making up a new path in orthodoxy. Yeah. I'm pretty standard when it comes to that. But in terms of connecting to Hashem through music, I really like innovating in that.
Yeah, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
So what advice would you give to someone who is curious about exploring like Jewish mysticism? I know you say you stay on the basics, but maybe exploring specifically Abulafia, or integrating creative expression into their spiritual practice.
Yeah, that's a great question, Yirmeyahu. I would say I brought this book today, Meditation and Kabbalah by Jason Caplan. I think that's the best book.
Gotcha.
Great book in terms of explaining Abulafia, explaining Baal Shem Tov, the Ari. There was even a book on Rabbi Joseph Tzayach that Jason Caplan mentions, and that book's actually out for publication. And I bought it to look at the overall ideas.
Gotcha.
So it's a great survey. The other thing I would say is, explore permutations, writing out words, looking for new meanings in them, just being creative within language. It doesn't have to be some high meditative thing. But the safest route to me is music.
Yeah.
You could also use it with painting and art or dance, but the safest thing to me is to go into a setting where you can play music with other people and exchange melodic ideas. I think you find everything you need with that. So beyond that, I tell people, take those ideas and run with it and create something totally new from even what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. So we get into the fun part of the interview. It's been great so far. Awesome. Great stuff. But this is the fun part. So we get to be interactive. You're a musician.
Yes.
You have some instruments here. And so we're going to speak about the universal language room, which you've talked about somewhat. And looking ahead, how do you hope your work and approach to prayer, music, and Jewish teaching will influence others or future generations? Okay,
great. So I'll do a demonstration, and then I'll break it down, then do it with you. The Universal Language Room was created in 2004 when I was watching great jazz artists that I brought up to Washington Heights perform music in a local synagogue.
In Brooklyn.
This was actually Washington Heights in Manhattan.
Then
I lived in Brooklyn afterwards.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes. So this was the top of Manhattan. And Dave Liebman, Phil Markowitz, Andy Statman, John Zorn, Kenny Werner.
Gotcha.
Somehow they agreed to me to come up and perform up there. So as they were performing, I thought I'd love to get up there and interact with them, which I didn't. I promise you I didn't. But I wanted to.
Rush the stage.
Be like, I've got my guitar, man. Let's do this. And be like, security. So that's where the Universal Language started. And quick plug, the website is ulr1.com to see.
There you go.
To see where we are with the nonprofit, the Bridge Institute, supporting this. And so I've been working on it for 20 years, and after 20 years, it's starting to do well. So I'll give you an example of permutations, and then how I do it with prayer, and then I'll break it down with you. You have a xylophone that I brought, and I'll show you how two people can interact. Then we can call it a session for the first official guest. This is just so awesome.
Yeah, this is amazing.
Amazing. So I've got my acoustic guitar here.
All right. Got my xylophone.
All right. So I'll start doing guitar, then I'll finish, then I'll bring you in for a xylophone. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be in E here. And as I said, they're permutations. Right? And I'll have you play after I do this piece. Yeah. So I'll just show you a quick, brief meditative piece, and then I'll show you how to do it in the key of C. Okay. So this is the key of E, just because it helps me play a drone string there.
There you go.
So I do Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Aleph, Bet, Dalet, Gimel, and I'll do that 24 different ways. I'll just do 6 for you. And then so that's the first 6. Okay. So what I want is a conversation between the permutations.
Yeah.
And even between myself. All right. So this is how I would pray to Hashem before I go to davening.
Gotcha.
So I can get into the right set of mindset of Hashem communicates with me, I communicate with Hashem. Now I say Hashem communicates with me, it's just hints and things that happen during the day. It's not like some voice comes out. Okay. So here we go. All right. Let me just make sure that doesn't resonate on the wire. Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you hear a conversation
Yeah.
there. And if you do that for about 15 minutes, something really starts to happen. 30 minutes. And then you especially do it with a group of people, 15, 30 minutes, something really happens. So we'll do a little bit together and you kind of see the interaction between us. So Yirmeyahu, you're here with the xylophone, I'm with the guitar, and I'll play C, D, E, F, and you'll play. Perfect. Then I'll play C, D, F, E. Great. These are just the training wheels.
Yeah.
Just stay on the white keys to keep us in the key of C.
Okay.
But we're just going to play anything. I'm just going to go. And you can make it rhythmic and go. Perfect. Oh, you actually played the same exact thing I played. That was really good. Excellent. Yeah, good. Did you play music growing up?
I flirted with the saxophone in like 6th grade.
Oh, okay.
That's about it.
You got a good sense from the start. Okay, good. So let's keep going. Oh, then the thing is we make eye contact, then I'll play. So I'll go.
Right.
Good. And then what would happen is we maybe would have a drummer or a drum machine,
Yeah.
and we'd play in time together. Now I'll play this little bass line, but you can play anything you want. Excellent. Keep going. Wow. Is that cool?
That's pretty cool.
It's just an amazing feeling, even just us doing that for 3 minutes.
Yeah, you feel like just release and connection. This should be a mandatory for any therapy session. Absolutely.
I think so.
All licensed therapists needs to pick up the universal language room.
I think so. So it goes to your question of where do I see it going? I would love for people to start their morning this way.
Yeah, this is
in
awesome.
the whole world. Just get up. We do need to be competitive at some level in society.
Absolutely.
It's just the nature of society. But we need to temper it with collaborative feeling. That when you first wake up in the morning, you go straight to work.
Yeah.
It's just, this modern world is just a little too competitive for me. And I embrace competition. But we're missing that collaborative piece. And I think if you start your morning with this and you think, okay, I do want to get ahead. I do want to do my best, but I want to do it bringing up other people along the way.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
And I think if you can feel it first through music, you can apply it to your day. So that would be my hope. There'd be universal languages, and we've done a good start. in different countries to have it going and people joining.
That's amazing. Like you're worldwide.
It's worldwide. It's worldwide. I want to thank my friend, my very good friend starting from the year 2000.
Yeah.
William Ruiz. He's
right.
a world traveling percussionist. And he really helped me make all these connections worldwide.
Yeah.
He said, I want you to meet this next person. So, but the two of us really felt it.
Absolutely.
Sitting here for just 3 minutes. So you can imagine doing it for 15 or 30 minutes.
Wow. Yeah.
You get this relief from life. You get a nice vacation. Mm-hmm. And then your head is clear to go positively into the world.
Yes. And it's using something that Hashem made for your pleasure, music. You don't have to do nothing weird or go off into some rainforest somewhere. You'd be right in your living room.
But that I'm really glad you brought that up of ayahuasca and all these things. I'm no expert. It might be good for people.
Maybe.
But to me, if you're looking for an inner journey, then music, which is already built into you, and the whole world and all of the universe is built on vibration, that would be the path I would take for an inner exploration.
Yeah.
You can always hum something. The keys of heaven are built inside of you already.
Yes.
You can hum it. You can snap your fingers. So I think it's a lot safer than any psychedelic stimulant. Again, I'm not a doctor. I don't know if those things are worthy at some point. But if you're talking about a daily practice, pick up an instrument, be good at it, and you'll start to get into that space in 3 minutes.
Right.
And if you don't like it, if something's going wrong with it, you just stop playing.
Right.
And it's done.
It's done.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Jason, for our listeners, again, tell us where they can find the Universal Language Room, also where they can find you, whether on social media or wherever they're at.
Well, thanks, Yirmeyahu. Kosher Commentary has just been a joy to be on with you.
Thank you.
Bless you to have a very successful podcast with many, many, many more guests.
Yes.
And for myself, I've just love being here. And for your listeners, ulr1.com is the website for the Bridge Institute. You'll also see Beit Abulafia, and our band is called Nachshon's Leap, NAQSHON''S Leap. So those 3 projects are my main 3 projects. And you can find them on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, all those things. Just look up my name. And feel free to write me any ideas you have, jason@ulr1.com.
There you go. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you again, Jason Caplan, for coming on the show. And as always, for all the listeners, if you listen thus far, make sure you share this podcast with a few people that you like. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment on all of Jason's YouTube channels. And as always, as I leave you, light up the darkness, change the world. Peace.
Thanks for listening to That Jewish Podcast. If this episode meant something to you, helped you grow, or made you feel more connected to the Jewish people, please follow or subscribe so you don't miss future conversations. Share this episode with a friend, especially someone who sees things a little differently. That's how unity gets stronger. And if your platform allows it, leave a rating and review to help more people discover the show. Also search That Jewish Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and WhatsApp. This is a space for thoughtful conversations about Jewish life, Jewish identity, and bringing all of Israel closer together. Until next time, stay connected, keep growing, and keep showing up for one another.